Good evening, everyone. It is time for the Confident Autistics presents Live Confidently Autistic, the live stream. I forgot we renamed it. How is everyone doing this evening? Yes, it's that time. We are on the air now, and I'm hoping everything's working right. I've done some new things here, and I needed to close that. Let's do that. Okay, I just do. Okay, anyway, I hope you can hear me. I'm going to go check something here and make sure that you can because it's just not doing the thing I want it to do. Okay, anyway, let's go and get out of this and let's just do that. There we go. Okay, we made some changes here. I am the Confident Autistic. Welcome in tonight. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to try to pull back. I got to move the mic. Anyway, tonight's shirt is I Wear Pink for someone I love because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month and I have a loved one that is fighting stage 4 breast cancer. And so I'm very proud to wear this shirt tonight. Anyway, thank you for oh yeah, okay. That was an alert here. Okay, so we are ready to dive in tonight. I'm going to check something here, so just give me a moment and make sure everything's working the way I would like it to and all because like I said, I did a few little changes and configurations. So I'm going to see what we have going on here. Okay, this is going. Just 1 second here. Okay, so the audio is going great. We have a poll up tonight to find out what type of pet that you have and that you like to have. Because tonight we're going to be talking about pets and how they can benefit us. But before we get into that, there's a few things I want to share with you. I have done a little tweaking on this on the Zoom end, and I was able to figure out without having to set up a green screen, which we used to have a big giant one behind me many moons ago, and it made me feel boxed in, so we got rid of it. And then we redesigned this office area so you can, so it's a little bit more roomy for me, and we got rid of the green screen. But long story short, I'm looking at something here on my file, on my computer. We have found a new strategy for doing this. And there we are. We now have a background. Pretty excited. Anyway, I am the Confident Autistic. Welcome in. Tell me in chat where you're from, and I'll give you a shout out. And let me make sure I have something else set on here. Okay, let's just go here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we're good. Never hurts to do a rehearsal, does it? Nope, it does not. Anyway, it's going to be a fun night. We're going to be diving into pets and all. If this is the first time you're watching one of my live streams, welcome in. I'm so glad to hear that you are here. And it is so wonderful to have you with me. And I'm trying to figure out where the sound's coming from. So give me a second. Um, that's not what I want. Oh, I know where it's coming from. I know. There we go. That did it. Okay. Wrong window open. Anyway, so go ahead and tell me where you're from and take a vote on there. Right now, cats are leading. We have cats, dogs, fish, and hamsters, guinea pigs, and I should say rabbits, not mouse, but I did that earlier and last minute production, things change. So anyway, we're going to be getting into that. This channel is for anyone who is late diagnosed autistic, suspects they're autism or autistic, or have received or pursuing a diagnosis of late autism. And I may sound a little frazzled tonight because it's been a hectic week here. I don't even want to get into how hectic it is. How's your week going? Hopefully not as hectic as mine. So anyway, that is what's going on here. And we're going to get into do the podcasts right now. Not podcast, the live stream. It has been a long week. Thank goodness it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be a fun day. Anyway, so this channel is all about helping you rise above challenges and live confidently autistic, which if you look to the right of your screen, you'll probably see the hashtag live confidently autistic, which is my hashtag. So let's get into it. Let's talk about pets. Because pets are really important. They are really cool. They help us a lot. So let's get into this. So, uh, we are, um, well, I want to thank you for so much for joining me tonight. Before we get started, go ahead and say hello in the chat. I mentioned that before. Please do that. Let me know where you're from. Tell me where you're watching from, and maybe share whether you already have a pet or are thinking about getting a pet. Now, I have a pet named Junior, which for you saw in the title slide of this event on the thumbnail. That was the actual picture of our cat, Junior Cat. So, and we love him dearly. We took him on a trip with us recently. I went to St. Louis and had some stuff done, some tests done, evaluation for my heart because I have a constricted aorta, and see if I need surgery or not. Thank God at this point I do not. And he was a perfect traveling companion. After he got a little car sickness, he was perfect. I mean, we let him out a little backpack we had him in, and he just kind of laid down in the back seat and watched everything tonight. So I mean, everything on our trip, and he was great. And every once in a while, he came up from the front seat, got into my lap, and let me explain this to you. I don't drive, which is good because you don't want the cat in your lap when you're driving a car. And he just laid there and let me pet him. When he was done, he went back there. So he's a great comfort. And he was perfect in the hotel room. Didn't tear up anything. All he did to the hotel room was leave a little bit of cat hair because he's shedding. Otherwise, great pet. And we had a great time with him. Wonderful time. But since we're going to be talking about pets tonight, let's make this a little bit more of a fun video, okay? A little bit more of a fun live stream. We're going to do this. I'm going to magically change into a kitty cat. Ready? Three, two, one. There we are. That's kitty me. I thought this would be fun to do tonight. So anyway, let's get into our conversation about pets. And there's many types of pets. And because today we are diving into one of my favorite topics, and that topic is pets. Specifically, the best pets for late diagnosed autistic adults and why they can make such a powerful difference in our lives. Thank you, Peekaboo. I'm glad I do not need surgery either. I'm checking you in the chat. It is so grateful. Yeah, I bet you love the cat little thing I did. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very grateful. Now that does not mean later in my life I won't need surgery, but at this point I do not. So if you've ever wondered, getting back to our topic tonight, and don't forget to vote in the poll. It should be up there in the chat area. What type of pet you have? If you ever wondered, could a pet really help me with my stress, my routine, or even my confidence? The answer is yes. And tonight we're going to talk about why. So let's get into this, okay? Let's start with one of the most popular choices for pets. Is probably the choice for pets for many reasons, and that is the lovely world of kitty cats. Yes, let's talk about cats. They're a great pet. Like I mentioned, I have a cat, and he is such a. I'm not sure if he's my comfort cat or I'm his comfort human. We haven't figured that out yet. Be, Now, cats make a great pet because cats are independent but affectionate. Some are more than others. Some are more independent than affectionate. Some are more affectionate than independent. It depends on the temperament of the cat, how they were raised, what breed they are, etc. Now, one thing I learned accidentally because I've had two orange cats. Orange cats seem to be the most affectionate. I did some research and they turn out to be the most affectionate cats. Now, cats don't demand constant attention, and their calm energy can be so soothing for those of us who crave quiet companionship. That rhythmic purring is not just cute, it actually helps reduce our anxiety. And that can be incredibly grounding during sensory overload. As I mentioned, I have a cat. His name is Junior. He's in the thumbnail for this video, the picture when you think about watching this video. And he is wonderful. He follows me a lot of, he's like a kind of like cat dog, but not much. But he does follow me. And every night we have a routine in our house. And just like cats, cats like autistic people, we like routines, they like routines. And this is and this is very important to them. So we have what's called food o'clock in the morning, where we feed him. He has wet food, and he's diabetic, so we give him his shot and his pill. Okay, when I say we, I mean my wife. Okay, because she's probably in the audience thinking, "You don't do anything in the morning. You sleep in," which I do. And then he comes into the bedroom and tries to wake me up, and I get up, do my morning things, and I lay down a little bit again because he likes to spend time with me. Then in the afternoon, we have food o'clock again because he has to have his insulin twice a day, every um, every 12 hours. So we do that food o'clock, and then he thinks right after food o'clock it should be bed o'clock, so I can go into bed. And he's not in the office with me right now. He's not in here, and I forgot my ball tonight. It's in the bedroom, so I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands. You can't see my hands because we have the avatar up, but that's my own problem. Anyway, so at night he sits on top of the recliner that's across from me in the living room and stares at me like, you need to go to bed. Bed, bed, bed. And then every time I get up, he tries to lead me to the bedroom because he loves going in there, laying down on me for a little while. Then he gets up, goes, walks around the house, comes back in the bedroom. So we have our routines. And he just loves being on my lap. He loves spending time with me. He'll be up on my wife's lap. And then if I sit down in the recliner next to her, bam, he's gone out of her lap. Which I'm hoping does not hurt her feelings that much. But bam, he'll just hop over like, now my favorite human's here. Yours, my second favorite. So they're wonderful. They have great companions. And there are times that when I feel anxiety, of course, I have a warmie and I have some other stuffed animals that helps me to regulate. But hearing him purr and just him rubbing up against me and stroking his soft fur is so comforting for me. Now, before we move on to the next one, let's take a look at what's going on in the chat here. So give me a moment here. You travel too, huh? Cool. I often see my family to have a cat. I'm gone for over a month at a time and don't have anyone to take care of my future cat. Oh, yeah, that's sad. Because that's one of the hard things. You have a pet, you got to be there at times for them. They don't open up can openers on their own. They don't know how to feed themselves. They don't know. You don't want to teach them how to use DoorDash. It's just not going to be a good idea because you have a very big bill. Um, yeah, cuteness overload. Cats are so cute. My cat Junior was a rescue cat. Pretty much every cat we've ever had in my family had been a rescue cat. We got them from shelters, wherever. They've been rescue cats, and Junior was no exception. My dad got him from the Humane Society, and he lived with my dad for several years, and my dad passed away, and then he came and lived with us. Now, the weird thing is, some cats identify who their favorite human is, the preferred human to be with, and that was me. Whenever I went to my dad's house, he would leave my dad, hop up on my rollator that was next to me because I'm physically disabled. And he just laid there, looked at me like, okay, let's go home. Take me home. Take me home. And I didn't take him home until after my dad passed away. But he just automatically gravitated to me and he's just part of my life. I've heard someone say orange cats are Velcro cats. And they really are. They can get very attached to you. Now, I had another orange cat before Junior. He passed away. His name was Casey. The letter K, the letter C, stood for kitty cat. And his life ended way too early because that cat ate everything. I mean, everything, food and non-food items. He ate. I tried to tell him if it's not in the food bowl, you don't eat it. Now, I like Cheez-Its. And apparently Casey liked Cheez-Its. So one night I'm holding in my hand a cheese it. And I'm about to put it in my mouth and talk to my wife and this near there. He hops up on my lap, licks the cheese it, then looks at me like, oh, daddy, My bad. Was that yours? You weren't going to eat that, were you, Daddy? He does have that cutest look when he did that. And, and then I don't like pain. If you've seen my other videos, I don't like pain. I don't like needles. And Casey decided to bite me one night, and I was sitting on the floor watching TV, and he bit into my hand, and I just flung my hand backwards, and he flew off my hand, ricocheted off the back of the couch, and landed on the couch, looking like what happened. So several months later, he's sitting on my lap, and he has his mouth open, thinking I'm going to bite Daddy. He's about to bite down, and then he stops, like, oh yeah, bad idea. That was a bad day. So yeah, cats are so much fun. They really are. I had a turtle show cat named Laptop, and she loved me. She did. And I had her before I got married. And Kim would come over to my apartment, and we would, watch TV. She took care of me after my incomplete spinal cord injury and everything. And she would leave my apartment around 9 or 10 in the evening every night after she came there after work. Well, we got married. And for about 3 months, every night at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the evening, Laptop sat next to the door, looked at Kim, looked at the door, looked at Kim, looked at the door, as to say, isn't it time for you to leave? Eventually, she resigned herself that she's going to have to share me with Kim 24/7. But Laptop was a problem solver. We had this little, like, and not really a bookcase, but a little stand that we would put stuff on right next to the door. And Laptop learned how to, she figured this out on her own, how to unlock and open the front door to our apartment at night. Once I discovered she was doing that, we had to rearrange the apartment because I don't want to going out at night, and I certainly don't want anyone bad coming in during the night. And she was a very, very interesting cat with a lot of cat rules for herself. She did not let anyone tell her no. She used to hop up on top. We had a galley kitchen, hop from the floor up on top of the counter, on top of the refrigerator, on top of the shelf. The cabinets up at the top, that space up there. And she, we kept telling her, no, don't do that. You're going to get stuck up there. You're going to fall. She didn't listen. So one day, Kim and I came home from wherever we were at, and we see her with her little paws hanging on the top of it, dangling down with her feet. It's the top front paws holding on. And she looked at it like, I know I'm in trouble, but help, help. You're right, Daddy, don't do this. And we had blinds, like Venetian blinds in our bedroom. And we had the old kind, the one that went straight across, left to right. And then we're living in an apartment, so they had to change into the ones that go up and down the vertical ones because of legal reasons. The legal reason is the older blinds used to have that little loop thing, the string that kind of went around, and because apartments can have children in them, a kid can wrap that around the neck, choke, and get killed. So the apartment had to change all of those. Now on the old blinds, Laptop had chewed on them enough that pieces had broken off so she can easily get in and out of the window. Now the new blinds came in, and these were harder plastic. And she said to herself, these blinds are not going to get in my way. I'm going to break them off like I did the old one. So she bit into it. She couldn't get a tooth out of the blind. So in that case, the blinds actually won. So that's what I want to share about cats. I'm going to check out the chat here, and then we're going to move on to our next potential animal. Pet. Let's see. Okay. DoorDash, yeah, that is funny. Or Uber, Uber Eats, whatever works for the cat. Don't give your cat access to the cell phones. What's the best breed of cats for us? Ooh, for me, because, and I think it depends on our personality and what our needs are as autistic adults. That's a great question, by the way. Uh, for me, I love my orange cat. I've loved orange cat. If I got another cat, it would be an orange cat. I had a calico. That was my first cat that I got. I loved her. Kelly, the calico kitty. And I loved her because I always wanted a calico cat, and she was good. But I loved the orange cats because they have so much personality. They entertain me, and they are more affectionate. They want to be petted. And at times they don't want to be petted. Other times they will. And at times I think our orange cat can sense when I'm not feeling well or my wife's not feeling well, and the cat will come up there and purr and let us pet them, and that helps with my anxiety. So I love the orange cats, but it depends on what your needs are. If you don't like the texture, or the feel, or you're sensitive to that of the cat's fur, maybe another kind of cat that would be better for you, one that's around but doesn't need that much physical contact. So it's really a difficult question because of the fact of it, not just our temperament, the cat's temperament is what we as autistic adults need from that cat and what we can give to that cat. Some cats are okay, you can leave them alone for 10, 12 hours during the day. Other cats, you leave them alone for 15 minutes and you come back, you're lucky your house is still in one piece. So it just depends on you and the cat. And I don't think there's a simple answer to that question, but I think it's a great question. So your childhood cat was a Siamese. Yes. My mom loved Siamese cats. Uh, my aunt had a Siamese cat named Teddy Bear. And this, you know, maybe I'm stereotyping here, which I really don't like doing. But some Siamese cats can be mean, and Teddy Bear was mean. He just looked scary, and he did not want anyone in even the same room with him when he was eating or using the litter box. The only person that could be in the room with him when he was eating was my aunt, because she was the one that fed him the food. Everyone else had to leave the room, otherwise he became kind of scary looking. So I understand Siamese can be very affectionate, but they can also be, in my opinion, my experience, my research, be a little bit difficult to work with. So, yeah, that's been my experience with Siamese cats, but they are very beautiful creatures. Yeah, a lap cat. I love lap cats. I mentioned I had a cat, a turtle shell cat named Laptop. So we get the cat. The cat was a rescue cat. Somebody, some mean jerk, took Laptop and her sister, little kittens, and wedged them in the V portion between two of these big trunks, I guess it is, in a tree out in the woods where a friend of my wife's lived. And she called and said, I know you lost Kelly, your calico cat passed away. Is Chris looking for a cat? And I wasn't quite ready for one, but I said, fine, because that day was the day I just lost my job. That's another story for another day. So we went out there and we got this cat, and I named her Laptop, thinking she's going to be a lap cat. Laptop hated being on my lap. I wanted a lap cat. I named her Laptop so she would be on my lap. She never got on my lap. She didn't like that. So, but lap cats are very wonderful. They're very comforting and soothing in many ways. Yeah, well, thank you. I'm sorry my aunt's cat was so scary. Yeah, Teddy Bear was kind of a scary little guy, but my aunt liked him, and he liked my aunt, but he just was not a fan of anybody else. So, so yeah, it is horrible. Some people how they will abandon and get rid of cats. I don't want to go into all the ugliness of it. It's an ugly situation, but it does happen, unfortunately. So now let's talk about our next breed, and we're going to talk about dogs here. Yes, and this is something I would love to have. Uh, Before we get into that, I'm going to leave that up there. If there's something, do you have a cat? What's your cat's name? And what's one thing they do that makes you smile or helps you relax, calm down, self-regulate? Go and put that in the chat, and we're going to take a look at that in a moment. In the meantime, I'm going to take a drink of water. And let's see. Um, Hard to predict which cat is going to want to sit on your lap and purr. Yeah, it is hard to predict. I really thought she would be I thought all cats could be a lap cat if they were, worked for the kitten. Laptop did not want to be a lap cat. Let me tell you one more funny thing about Laptop. It just popped in my mind. Then we're going to talk about dogs here. Laptop really thought she was outdoor cat material. She wanted to be an outdoor cat. There was a few problems. She would only drink water that was like bottled water. We had like a one of those machines that you get water out of, and the big 5-gallon tub that sit on top of it. We had water delivered to our apartment. She would only drink that. She would not drink any other kind of water. She was afraid of the dark. When it got night in the apartment, until I put night lights throughout the house, she would walk around crying and screaming all night long, to the point I'm thinking the neighbors are going to think I'm abusing my cat. And three, she was deaf. She did not like dirt on her paws. Remember, she thought she was an outdoor cat. She did not like dirt in her paws, and she was deathly, and I mean deathly, allergic to fleas. When she got fleas all over her, she acted like she was possessed. She had a very bad allergy to fleas. So between definitely allergic to fleas, does not like to walk on dirt, has to have filtered bottled water, and afraid of the dark, she still believed in her heart she was an outdoor cat and she belonged in the outdoors. Yeah, your childhood cat, this is from Peekaboo. Your childhood cat used to place his or her paw on one of your sides of your face and the other on the other side and just snuggled. Oh, that is so cute. I like that. We had a cat when I was a kid named Socrates, and he was also kind of a turtle shelled cat. There's two things I want to say about Socrates. When my brother or I um, were upset, we were crying, maybe we got punished, whatever, we were crying, he would come in and lick our hair. And that sounds weird, but he would do that to comfort us. He would come up there and just start licking the side of our head and our hair. Now, my brother and I, as a kid, we had the thing called the Big Jim Camper. It was a toy, and it was pretty large. Okay, I'll tell you how large it was. It was big enough to put the cat in it. So we got the cat, and we put the cat did not get hurt. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that right now. The cat, we got him in there, face up against the front window of the Big Jim Camper. And my dad came in, and the cat looked at my dad like, "Oh, thank God, an adult's gonna save me." My dad walked out of the room, came back in with his camera, and took pictures of the cat before he told us to take the cat out of the Big Jim Camper. So yeah, um, that was hilarious. Maybe I'm the only one finding it funny. Maybe he had to be there, but it was hilarious. And then cats, and this is another thing about Socrates he did. He was laying on the back of the couch in the living room next to the window, and he was kind of sleeping, and he rolled over and fell onto the floor. He got up, walked into the kitchen where the dog had been the entire time, bit the dog on the leg as if it was the dog's fault he fell off the couch. Then he went back to the couch, laid back up there, and went to sleep. That's my cat stories. And thank you. The person in here that just did Camp Clover about Junior, that's my wife, by the way. So you can say hello to her. Yeah, she very rarely participates in the chat, but she's usually watching. So that's great that she's watching. Anyway, let's talk about dogs now. Dogs are wonderful if you thrive, that is, on structure and routine, because they thrive on that as well. So dogs are wonderful if you thrive on structure and routine, feeding, walking, and playtime. Add predictable rhythms to your pet's day and your day. And emotionally, dogs can sense when we are struggling. Many even become emotional support or service animals for autistic adults. I would love to have a dog. And the reason I don't have a dog, I don't have a fenced in yard. And I am physically disabled. And there is no me chasing the dog down the street. This is not going to happen. Okay. So I got to get a fenced in yard. And the uncertainties about what's going to happen in my future right now, where I'm going to be, etc., etc. And I have enough fish in the fryer right now. So, we're not getting a dog at this point. But if I was to get a dog, I want a golden lab. Okay, I do. I think they're beautiful animals. Uh, they're bigger dogs, and I think it would just be a nice companion to have. And I know that. We talked about it before, but I have a Warmie. That's a golden lab named Waggles. I have a dog on top of one of my monitors here, stuffed dog, a golden lab that I named Peekaboo. I named the dog Peekaboo before I met Peekaboo here, so it had nothing to do with. Don't let it go to your head. And I have a little pom puppy now named BJ for Barn Jewish Hospital because that's where I went and had my heart test done it, and we were not 100% sure if I was going to be staying for surgery or not. But it's been a tradition in my family every time I go in for surgery, and I've had many in my life, that I would get a stuffed animal. And so, and growing up, we had several dogs, mainly poodles. Francie, we had a poodle Sheltie named Maverick, which was her offspring. My parents had dogs, Eastie, because we got her on Easter. We had a dog named Snoopy, which was a he big. I think it was a beagle. Anyway, he was big. And when I was little, I my brother used to ride him as if he was a small horse. And when you hear that, I don't know about you. I think of the E-Trade commercial where the baby was given a timeout because he said apparently riding the dog like he's a small horse is frowned upon in this establishment. So, but we loved our dogs and became very attached to them. So, does anyone here have a service or emotional support dog or a dog that's a pet? Tell us about your experience. I would love to hear about them. Hear your stories of your dog. So, I'm going to go and check the chat here. So, if you have had a pet dog or have one, what breed? What was his name or her name? Love to hear it. Let me check out the chat here. Okay, and so Kim, that's her actual name. Kim are initials. I won't go into what they are, but she's saying hi to everyone. Hi, Kim. Yeah, and in case you did not hear earlier, the cat's not in the office with me, and neither is my ball. I left that in the bedroom. So anyway, that's the personal message. You can't have the dog because of the stairs. Okay, all right. So the stairs and the dog do not coexist. All right. Well, sorry to hear that. I can't have a dog right now because I don't have a fenced-in yard. So I guess we're kind of on a similar boat here. So, but dogs are wonderful. They're great pets. They really are. And I really would like to get one someday. Remember, if you are seeking connection and consistency, a dog might be your perfect match. Now let's talk about a pet you might not expect to hear, and that is fish. Yes. As a cat, this is a dream spot for a cat is to be in an aquarium. Let's just be honest about that, okay? Excuse me. Watching fish swim is mesmerizing. It can help regulate sensory input, and watching the fish swimming around can bring calm through gentle, repetitive motion. Plus, they don't require touch, which is great for those who find physical interaction overwhelming. Now, I don't have much of a problem with touch. I don't like being touched by people that much for various reasons, including you never want to touch somebody who's physically disabled because you don't know where the pain points are and you could throw them. Oh, my wife brought me my ball. Thank you. You could throw them off balance. They can get hurt. You can get hurt, etc. Oh, I love my ball. So that's why I don't care for being touched. Now, I don't mind touching pets, but I don't like touching fish. I don't like touching worms because they're slimy and yes, and I just don't like touching them. But the aquarium is a great thing to have. They can be very relaxing. Now, is there anyone else or anyone who enjoys or finds watching aquariums relaxing? Now, I get why they are relaxing and how they can be relaxing. I truly do. But they're not for me. They're not relaxing for me. They actually cause me anxiety, and I'll tell you why. When I was a kid, Uh, I went to a dentist, and I went to the dentist almost weekly for a while because one of the things I'm bad at, it might be part of my autism, maybe not, maybe I have no idea, but I'm not the best at taking care of my teeth, and that's going to catch up to me. I know that. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you about that. It's already catching up to me. But in the waiting room of my dentist, he had an aquarium, and that I always look at that aquarium. And now when I see an aquarium, it reminds me of the anxiety of sitting in that dentist's office and having to sit in the dentist chair for hours on end while he fixed my teeth, and it was not a pleasant experience. So to me, because of my childhood connections with the aquarium, I I don't care for aquariums. I do understand how they can be very tranquil for people, but for me, it's the opposite. It's very stressful. So, anyone here find watching aquariums relaxing? Let me know in the chat. Well, speaking of chat, let me take a peek over here. I love watching fish swim on my screen. Yeah, there's some great screensavers. Uh, okay, I'm going to date myself, but I've been into computers since the 1980s, and I've seen some really killer screensavers over the years of fish swimming around. And it's a great screensaver. Screensavers are not as necessary as they were in the earlier days of computers because screens are much different. Now we have the flat screen LCD or whatever you want to call them screens, and back in the day we had more like a CRT cathode ray tube screens, which images could actually get burnt into the screen. So, but they are beautiful. There's some very beautiful ones. My favorite screensavers. I know they have nothing to do with pets, but since you brought up screensavers, I'm going to mention this. I love the ones back in the day, and look at the graphics we do today. It looks pretty pathetic, but firecracker screensavers. Not the sound. There's no sound with it. Just the bursting of the colors. I love that. That was cool. So, you love aquarium? Yeah, and I'm glad that they are. There's a lot of responsibility for aquariums and cleaning them, and all, but they can be fun. Now, the risk you have if you have a cat having an aquarium, he's going to look at that and say, "Oh, an all-you-can-eat buffet." So, a cat plus an aquarium may not be the best combination for pets. Just saying. Now, we talked about cats. We talked about dogs. Let's talk about, let me see if I'm clicking the right one here. Let's talk about those furry little animals, okay? Our furry friends. Guinea pig, rabbits, and hamsters. They are very affectionate in short bursts, easy to care for, and thrive on gentle handling and routine. A wonderful fit if you want companionship without too much responsibility. Now, before I share my experiences of having uh, uh, guinea pigs and hamsters, let me ask you this. Have any of you ever had small pets like guinea pigs, rabbits, hamsters, maybe even a pet mouse? What was your experience with them? Love to hear about those in the chat. Now, I've had guinea pigs and I had hamsters. And now, some states, I live in Missouri, and when I grew up, I was living in Missouri. And apparently, in Missouri, at least when I was a child, I don't know about today, you can have pet guinea pigs when I was a kid. California, I moved there in the 1980s. From what I understand, you cannot have a guinea pig as a pet in California. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. So not every state's going to allow you to have that. But I did have a couple guinea pigs. But I really loved, of all these smaller animals, I loved hamsters, and I've had probably four hamsters in my life. Templeton and Squeaky and Snuggles and Cuddles. Those are the names of my hamsters. And one of my hamsters was on the wheel. You know how they love spinning on those things. And he fell and I apparently broke his back or something. And he died a few hours later. And that was the first time as a child I actually understood and experienced grief. I remember sitting up on the couch in the living room all night by myself on my knees looking out the window. I like watching the sky at night. To me, that's very tranquil. And just crying all night because my hamster died. My parents went to bed. They were a great comfort. I'll tell you, they were. They were oh, so comforting. Sorry, your hamster died. See you in the morning, kid. That's basically it. But um, yeah, it really helped me with understanding and learning a little bit about what grief was like. And it probably this is going to sound sad, but it's probably the only time in life that somebody's passed away or, that I actually cried over. I don't normally cry over grief. I just don't. I mean, which I had a conversation about that today with my mom and my wife. We were talking about when my grandparents passed away, and my father's my grandfather on my dad's side, when he passed away, I got in trouble from my dad because I did not cry. I was not. In my defense, I lived in Missouri. My grandfather lived in California, and he passed away when I was in junior high school, probably when I was about, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, something like that. And I only saw him two or three times in my life for maybe one or two days, or three or whatever. And most of my memories of him are from watching film, even back then, of him on 8 millimeter film my dad took. So I really did not have a connection. I did not cry, and I got in trouble for that. We had a conversation about that today. But when my hamster passed away, I actually cried. It was very interesting, and usually, I mean, I've had other deaths in my life, and I'm not trying to belittle them, but some of them I saw coming, some were unexpected. But it brings up an interesting topic that maybe we'll do in another video. Is that we all grieve differently, and no one should tell somebody else how to grieve. Anyway, but I did love my hamsters. They were fun. They were playful and enjoyable. Now, let's see. Oh, you do remember the catheter ray tubes? Yeah. Oh yeah, the old one, the big monitor that took about 50% of your desk. They were huge. I like going to aquariums. Um, Having one would stress me out. Yeah, the cleaning and all. I get that. We went down to, speaking of aquariums, we went down to the aquarium they have in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I had a brilliant idea. I did. And I think my wife stopped me from doing this, but I had a brilliant idea. I was going through that. I had a bottle of water that I've been drinking. I drink water all the time. I'm diabetic. So I had a bottle of water. So I thought about pouring some of it in the floor. Nobody notices this, right? And then look up and say, hey, and then look down at the puddle. Look up and look down at the puddle and say, hey, I think there's a crack up there. Because this is occurring. You walk in and it goes all around you on your left side, right above your head. I thought that would be hilarious to see people's reaction with this puddle of water on the floor, telling them, I think there's a crack in the aquarium. But I got vetoed on that plan. That to me would have been hilarious. Tell me in the chat, would you have done that? Would you have told me, no, Chris, you should not do that? And you would have said, let's see how people react. Love to hear your response to that. I never had a guinea pig, rabbit, or hamster. Never had that experience. Uh, Death is so hard. Grief is so hard. It is. It truly is. I had a friend of mine in school. I know one person who had a pet rabbit, a pet bunny, and I went over to her house once and saw it, but I never really had a rabbit. But the key thing about rabbits, you don't want to have two, just one, only one, only one. Like the old joke goes with Noah and the Ark. You know, two elephants, male, female, two, blah, blah, blah. The big problem was he kept having to tell the rabbits, only two, only two. Anyway, oh, you would have done that. Let's see how people would react. Thank you. Thank you. Where were you the day I was at the aquarium, right? Okay, here we go. All right, so our final category that we'd like to talk about is reptiles. And reptiles include geckos. And you get the right gecko, he can grow up to start selling insurance and bring in an income. Just saying. Okay, geckos, turtles, or bearded dragons are quiet, fascinating to observe, and love consistency. Their care can even become a special interest, creating a sense of calm and pride. Now, anyone watching, whether you're watching live or in replay, anyone watching who's ever had a reptile as a pet, tell us what you loved about that idea. Now, I'm not a big reptile person. When we went to the zoo, my brother loved the reptile house. There's only two, I think these are reptiles that I actually like. The turtle and the frog. And I won't touch the frog, they're slimy and the ooey. I don't like that sensation. But I do like turtles, and I kind of had a pet turtle in the backyard when I was a kid. I, it is a cute little turtle. I can't remember what I named him though, but he was my pet. My brother loved snakes, and that creeps me out. Snakes creep me out. Excuse me. So he had a pet snake, and one night it got out of his carrier in the house and was slithering around. And it slithered from his room into my room. And I'm not going to go to sleep with that snake in the room. No, we found the snake. We got him out there, and it was late in the evening, and my parents asked, "Do you want us to help you clean up your room, or we can clean up your room in the morning?" And I said, "No, no, I'm going to take care of this now. I'm going to get the room back in order. I'm going to go to bed. Keep that snake in his cage." I don't like snakes. Now, I have a good friend of mine that likes snakes, and my brother had like a small little snake, nothing really big. My friend has a really large snake, and the thing I don't like about snakes, besides the slimy and some of them are very deadly and dangerous, is what the diet. And I just, it's me. I cannot have a pet snake and put a mouse in the cage with the snake, knowing what's going to happen. I can't do that. Okay, that's just me. And so that that is that's troubling to me. But my brother, my friend that has snakes, he has a big aquarium with a snake in it, and one of these things. I mean, it's big. It looks heavy and all. I don't know what breed it is. I visited his house. He said, "That's my snake." I said, "This is me standing over here. I'm not going near it. I don't want to touch it. I'm sure he's a nice pet. I don't want to pet him." I have felt free respects to snakes, so I stay away from them. So, but yeah, I like turtles. Remember, like I said, you get a gecko. He could be, he could be related to that famous Geico gecko. You never know. Let's check out the chat here. Uh, I guess all reptiles are not bad. Snakes freak me out, but turtles and geckos are okay. Yeah, I think they're okay. Yeah. I just don't like touching stuff that's slimy or anything like that. We call it ooey gooey around the house. So no matter which pet you choose, what most important is how that animal fits your sensory preferences, your lifestyle, and your emotional needs. And the cool thing is, pets do not judge us. Okay, now don't misunderstand your and they don't misunderstand your communication, but most importantly, they do not judge you. Well, unless you're late feeding them, and then the cat can really make you feel like you're a piece of garbage. Okay, so pets do not judge us. They do not misunderstand our communications, and they don't demand that you mask. They don't. It's one of the cool things. You can be your authentic autistic self around a cat or dog or whatever pet. They simply accept you exactly as you are. And that's really would be what's really important. The best part about having a pet. And this is why pets can be such a gift to autistic adults like you and me. They bring calm, structure, and unconditional love into our world. So, what pet have made the biggest difference in your life? Or if you're thinking about getting one, which type are you leaning towards? Now, if this conversation about pets tonight has helped you, please give this stream a like. Share it with someone who might benefit from it who was unable to attend live tonight. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future live streams. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, so let's do this. I got something I need to show you. That's not what I want. That's what I want. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go and close that because I can stay there. Okay, so let me get this where I need it to be. We've been running a poll on my YouTube channel to decide what next week's topic will be. Because next Thursday is the night before Halloween and 2 days before we go into daylight savings time ending here in the United States, most parts of the United States, except Arizona and Hawaii and maybe a few other little tiny spots. But, that's neither here nor there. So let's go and figure out what's going on this poll. So I asked up there on YouTube. Let me share the screen with you here. Let me get over to this. Let me get over here to. Why is it not wanting to do this? Hold on. Why is it not wanting to do this? Huh. Oh, I know where it is. That's my bad. My bad. Okay. Here we go. So we did a little poll. It's been up there for a while, but since Monday. And let's look at the results of this. Um, this the screen I want? Yeah, that's the screen I want. Okay. So I put a question up here. What would you like us to discuss next week? How to have a fun and safe sensory-friendly Halloween, or how to adjust to the daylight savings time thing. So that was basically our poll, and the poll I believe is closed, and I'm going to show you what won. 75% of those who voted would like us to discuss surviving the end of daylight savings time and how that change, that 1 hour falling back, can be a challenge for those of us on the spectrum. So that is going to be our topic next Thursday night. So I invite you to come back next Thursday night and participate in that conversation. There we go. And I will see you then. I'm hoping to have more videos up next week. Like I said, it's been a very crazy week around here for me. Thank you for hanging with me tonight. I truly appreciate it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you ever have any questions or an idea, please let me know. We're about to get into the busy holiday season. We got stuff planning. 2026 is going to be a big year if everything goes the way I plan it to. So, again, thank you so very much for joining tonight. Let me go down here. Let me get this pull back up there. There we go. And I will see you next Thursday. Until then, remember, you have the ability to rise above any challenge and live confidently autistic. I will see you on the next video. Oh, before I go, let me check one more thing in the chat here. I'm watching on my TV. How do I share? Ooh, that's a good question. Watching on your TV. That's interesting. I don't know because I've never watched it live on my TV. I wonder how you do that if you're watching it on the TV. If you're doing it like through Chromecast or something, I know I have a Chromecast device, and if you hit the little circle thing up at the top, obviously you can pause it, but if you move up and down and left to right, it can it has some menus up there, and I have one thumbs up, thumbs down. There may be a share button on there. But you know what I'm going to try this week? I'm going to try figuring out how to share a video I'm watching on TV, because I do that all the time. And I'm going to come back with an answer next week, because that's a great question. I'm sure people want to know that. So thank you for asking me that question. But you can't share it there. When you get your mobile device, like a phone or a computer or whatever, just go to my channel, and then you'll be able to share it from there. But I'm going to look into that. That's a great question, because so many people are now watching videos not on a computer, not even on a mobile device like a tablet or a phone. They're watching it straight on their TVs. And this is something I need to have an answer to. So I can help you with your questions so you can do what you need to do. Now, oh, before we go, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see. This is what I want to do. I forgot. I forgot to do something here. Hold on. Let's do this. Okay, now I'm back to being a human being. Oh, that was good. It felt good to be a cat for a while. It did. No responsibilities. It was kind of fun. Anyway, uh, so you're on the Roku. Okay, I do that on the Roku as well. I'm going to look into answers to that. In fact, what I hope to do, this is a great thing. It would be a great video too. I could do a video on this and put it up to the channel. Yes, it's not exactly aligned with the message and the mission of the channel, but yeah, I think of drawing people. Oh, and our poll tonight that we did in the chat, 100% of voting for cats. So that's great. We're cat people. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that. We're gonna have an answer next week. So yeah, thanks for hanging. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a safe weekend. Happy birthday to my wife. She's having a birthday this weekend. Now I don't have to buy her a gift. No, actually, I'm kidding. I got her a gift. I do. I don't know if you can see it or not. No, you can't because of the effect. But I have a gift for her. Now she does not know what it is. Anyway, have a wonderful, safe weekend. Enjoy the fall colors wherever they're showing up. They're not showing up here yet, but we had a dry summer. That's another story for another day. But thank you for joining. And remember, you can rise above any challenge. Yes, you can. And you can live confidently autistic. Uh, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.